You are listening to the Icehouse Podcast, hosting conversations with gritty Kiwi business owners and leaders and industry-leading minds.
Hi everyone, welcome to today's episode. I'm in Christchurch today. It's great to be in this beautiful city, and I'm recording a conversation with Kathy Shailer. She is the branch manager at Hyspecs, New Zealand. Hyspecs is a one-stop shop for hydraulic design, manufacture, build, parts and service. They are based all across New Zealand. Kathy looks after the Christchurch branch. She has been at the company for 22 years, which I thought was pretty awesome. She's seen many ebbs and flows when it comes to culture. She's learnt a lot about her own leadership style. She talks about the challenges they may be facing or looking to overcome in 2023, what she's passionate about, her sense of purpose, and what excites her about the year ahead as well. We hope you enjoyed this episode. We'll get into it right now. Great. Wow. Welcome, Kathy. Thanks for being on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
We're going to start with some quick fire questions. I like to start this way because it just, it gets us warmed up, gets us going for a good conversation. So when are you most relaxed?
That would be when I'm hiking.
Ooh.
So whilst it's a physical activity, it's sort of, I'm only concentrating on getting from A to B, and it's outdoors and we have an amazing countryside. So that definitely would be when I'm most relaxed.
That's very cool. I like that. What does a day in the life of Kathy look like?
Up at 6 a.m, jump in the shower, make coffee, definitely coffee.
Needed.
I have an espresso machine, which I could not do without.
Yes, good call.
The kids are normally up, so I try and converse with my teenagers, which can often be difficult. Then it's out the door just after 7. The day can bring just about anything at the office. Normally try and get away by about 5:30, hit the gym, home for dinner, and kids again, maybe helping with homework or a few jobs around the house, and then a couple of chapters of a book and crash.
Yes, I love it. Yeah. I love it. That gives us a great picture into your day. Speaking of books, a book or podcast that you recommend?
There are so many. I'm currently listening to an audiobook called Surrounded by Idiots.
Oh, tell me more.
It's about personalities. It's by a guy called, I think it's Thomas Erickson, and it's talking about personality types and communication and how we deal with those different personality types. So I'm only up to chapter 3, but so far so good.
Yeah.
But the title just grabbed me, and it's not because I am surrounded by idiots, because I am not, but it's more of a perception thing sometimes, I think.
Yeah. Everyone goes, why aren't they thinking the same as me? They must be, is that the vibe?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's a good one. Other than that, podcasts, I got onto the Howie Games recently, which was on another podcast that you did.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm really enjoying that.
Yeah.
And if I want something a little bit more light, it's something like Stuff You Should Know, which is really cool, or The Weirdest Thing I Learned This Week, which is kind of really random factual type stuff that you can learn about anything from, I don't know, why we sneeze to how rockets work. It's just really random. It's cool.
Cool. Yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
And it would be kind of different to other things you sort of immerse yourself in. So it's kind of nice to go, I'll learn an interesting fact this week. That's cool. Cool. I love a good quick fire. And then I dive into this big question, because it's open and you can answer it however you want. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're passionate about.
So about me, well, I'm a mum. I'm a mum to twin boys.
Cool.
Who keep me busy and active, and they're awesome. They complete me. They're just lovely. I am, as I mentioned, a hiker, so I'm very active. I'm neither introvert nor extrovert.
So you're down the middle?
I'm down the middle.
Cool.
Yeah. I like my sport. I am a Crusaders fan. Sorry, some people.
We are in Christchurch.
I am interested in how people tick. I like that sort of thing. Hence the book I'm listening to at the moment.
Yeah.
I love a good glass of wine.
Red or white?
Red.
Yes, with you on that one.
Yeah, I can't turn down lemon meringue pie.
I love this answer. So great.
And passionate, I'm probably family, first of all. Passionate about my family. and my team. I mean, I've had an amazing bunch of people that I work with, and I've been there 22 years now. So,
wow.
So that probably points to the fact that they're my work family.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. And then being a Kiwi, you know, we are a cool bunch of people. I'm very proud to be a Kiwi.
Yeah, I so agree.
Yeah.
That was such a beautifully articulated answer.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. I feel like I honestly know you, and I'm like, cool, if I was to get you a present any time in my life, it's lemon meringue pie.
Yeah, absolutely.
And red wine. Done.
Yeah, done.
No, that's cool. I would love to hear about your journey with Hyspecs. Hyspec. How did it begin 22 years ago, and what has that journey looked like, and then what does it look like now?
Okay. So I started in September of 2000. At the time, the company I worked for was looking to make me redundant, and a client of mine, her husband worked at Hyspecs, and their administrator was leaving for Australia. And she said, we've got an opening, would you be interested? And I said, sure, why not? So I went along to the interview, and I think I was interviewed by a panel of about 4 or 5 people. It was scary as.
Yeah, those panel interviews.
But it just felt right. Interestingly, I had another interview that same week, another company in the civil construction game, and they made me an offer as well as Hyspecs, and their offer was more attractive in many ways, but no, the Hyspecs just felt right. It wasn't just the interview. It was sort of we did a wander around after the interview and just chatting away, and it just felt like a good work family.
Cool.
And so I decided to take the role. Wow. So I did that, and then just grew from there. So that was in 2000. 2005 I had my boys, so I had a wee break and then went back. Still at that stage doing administration work, but sort of looking after a little bit more of the teams around the other branches as well. 2010 went to Aussie with some of the others to set up there. Set up the Melbourne branch.
Yeah, awesome.
Which was awesome.
How long were you there for?
Setting up, I was only there for a week. Yeah. So it wasn't long, but the background work done in the, back here as well and things like that, and just that experience of
absolutely
getting things up and running, which was very cool. Then we had earthquakes, of course, which impacted quite a lot on our business. Then 2011, I was brought on as a shareholder. Yep. Then in 2015 we moved premises, which was an enormous job. Massive job, but well worth it. Interestingly, just following that, our turnover shot up and all that sort of, and our efficiencies, it was just amazing. Just what the difference that a move would make. Yeah. Then sort of around 2017 I moved into the branch manager role for the South Island and was appointed as a director, and then 2018 did OMP. Yep. And the business has just continued to grow and thrive.
First of all, wow, that career progression is impressive. Very, very amazing. Just seeing that, and obviously just because of who you are and the hard work that you bring to the company is pretty cool. Tell us a little bit about the business first, what it does, and it's obviously a big part of the community, locally too and across New Zealand. So tell us a little bit about what the business does as an organisation. Yeah, sure. So it's fluid power engineering basically. So most people, when they think about that, think about something like a crane. Which is a tiny part of the business. So we span many different industries. So we could be working in anything from in agriculture, like on harvesters, for example, or in the marine industry with line haulers and barges and things like that, fishing vessels. It could be rubbish trucks, for example. I mean, that's a common thing that everybody knows. There's a rubbish truck, right? So there's hydraulics on that. So, the control of those, things like that. Manufacturers, assembly lines. Wow. So, all manner of industry is what we touch on.
Our teams are comprised of obviously administrators, but we have engineers, technicians, and sales reps. So we span the whole range. We offer a one-stop shop. So someone could turn up and say, look, I need help with this design. So we'll sit down and help them with the design.
Yeah.
We can then build that design. We can then commission it, install it, and follow it up with service. So we can do the whole thing.
Yeah. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. How many people on the team? How many people in the staff?
In
overall?
the group, he's about 65 or 66.
Yep.
My team in the South Island, there's 18, 19 of us now. Which is a really neat number. I love that number.
Yeah. On that, I'd love to dive a little bit deeper into your leadership style and journey. If someone, I'm totally going off script already, but we're doing it. If someone was to, from your team was to answer, like, what is your leadership style? What do you think they'd say?
It's collaborative.
Yeah.
Would be one way of putting it. I'm very much that way. And culture is hugely important to me because I know from experience that a great culture produces great results. It's a no-brainer, right? So, very people-orientated, very collaborative.
Yeah, and being there 22 years, you would have seen the good and hardest, seasons as a business and how important culture is, right?
Yes, yeah.
Do you think your leadership skills was like you were born as a leader, or do you think it's been a long process of developing those skills?
I think you're probably born with tendencies towards leadership. It's a whole nature versus nurture thing, right?
Yeah.
And if you aren't given the opportunity to develop them, you won't. So, I think to a point you do have them to start with.
Yeah.
I'm a big sister, and my sisters will tell me I'm as bossy as all hell.
Yeah. Can relate to that as the eldest in my family too. They're like, you're bossy. I'm like, I'm just an organizer, okay?
Yes, absolutely.
I like to organize you, not boss you around, but really bossy. No, I get that. That sums it up. Yeah. That's very cool. I'd love to hear let's touch on your purpose. What would you say your purpose is, or what motivates you to get out of bed in the morning?
The motivation thing is definitely back to people.
Yeah.
They motivate me. I mean, you see my kids as people.
Yeah, of
them
course.
first. And the team, because to me, leadership is a service. I'm here to enable people to be the best they can be. And that gets me up in the morning. You have bad days, right? And there are times you don't want to get up in the morning sometimes. But being there for them, not wanting to let them down, wanting to see them be the best they can be is what gets me up.
That was gold. We'll probably pull that out and turn it into a bit of a snippet and a bit of content
I'll
there.
charge you later.
Leadership is service. I love that idea.
I think I might have got that partly from Simon Sinek. So I think I saw a quote from him one time on that. I thought, that's me.
Yeah. No, we love Simon. That's great.
Yeah.
If you could tell your younger self anything, maybe a piece of advice or a heads up, what would that be?
Don't have that last tequila. But seriously, don't sweat the small stuff. What was the other thing I thought of is it's okay to make mistakes. They're a learning. Yeah.
Brilliant advice. I love that. Keen to talk about how business is now and what it looks like for you guys. What is a current challenge that you're looking to overcome in 2023? Could be within business, could just be within your leadership or life.
Yeah. It could be an interesting year. I mean, there's a lot going on out there, right?
Yeah.
But despite the potential headwinds, I'm quite excited actually. There's a lot happening in our industry in terms of technology change. So, automation, electronic controls, and customers that are trying to head down more of a sustainability path as well.
Yeah, massively.
So that impacts on their systems and what they're doing. So, they're coming to us saying, can we have help with changing this or converting this, So that's very cool.
Yeah, awesome.
And exciting. And we have some guys that are very good at looking at those problems and saying, yep, I know what we can do.
Yeah, that's very exciting.
That is quite exciting. And, in terms of my leadership, it's probably, I had a little bit of a reset at the beginning of the year. I know that we all sometimes, we go on these OMP programs and we get all fired up, and then sometimes we, sometimes slip back into old habits, or we go through a bit of a tough patch. So the beginning of this year for me was a reset, and to re-establish some of those routines I set post OMP and go, right, fresh start,
Awesome.
Draw the line again, let's go. Yeah,
that's
so
cool.
Looking forward to that.
Yay, that's really exciting.
Yeah.
I'm feeling a sense from a lot of alumni and business owners, leaders, that even though it could potentially be a really difficult year, people are excited and they're feeling like freshly motivated, pandemic somewhat behind us, like just rearing to go is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
And I think that is cool because we're all sort of supporting each other to feel that and to be on that journey. So
I think you're right. And even some of our customers, we talk to them, and my team is saying as well, the customers, there's I guess a cautious optimism.
Yes.
They're not going, the sky's falling at all. We're not seeing that in business at the moment either.
Yeah.
Customers are going great guns.
Yeah. Resilient bunch, eh?
We are.
Yeah. Comes back to Kiwis too. You said, you're passionate about Kiwis being Kiwi, and I think Kiwi entrepreneurs and business owners and leaders, there's something about them. Anyway, I think that they're just more resilient or more willing to do the hard mahi.
Yes, absolutely. That number 8 wire mentality as well,
Just make it happen however. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I love asking this question because it can look different, but success and celebrating it, how does that look for you and your team? How do you celebrate success?
Loud and proud.
Woohoo! I like that.
That's again comes back to that culture. It is acknowledging people and saying, that was a bloody good job,
Epic.
And so we'll do that through, we have a monthly staff meeting where we just all gather around and either bring people up to date on what's happening or all the usual staff meeting stuff. But always part of that is identifying people that have done a good job. And sometimes it might be chocolate fish, or sometimes it's just the acknowledgement. Sometimes it might be a voucher or a bottle of something that they enjoy or that sort of thing. So
great.
But definitely acknowledging it publicly and loudly.
Yeah, and I think that's so important. People can underestimate the power of just going, hey, I see you. Thank you so much for putting in that extra effort there, or well done on that project. That can just be enough for people to feel really validated in their work.
Totally. Just a thank you, and sometimes I think we let those thank yous slide. We're so busy being busy that we just, we forget to do it.
Yeah.
And that little thank you for someone can go a really long way and make their day. They might be having a really horrible day and suddenly you thank them for something and the next thing, like off they go again.
Boost of energy again. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, that's interesting. Switching gears a bit, I want to talk a little bit about how you heard of the Icehouse and how the opportunity to come on Own and Manage program came about.
Okay, wow. Richard, our CEO, he was on the first ever OMP.
That blows my mind, eh? Like, I knew that, but still, like, first ever OMP.
So it's kind of in our blood, I suppose, almost, isn't it? So he was the one that got me on to LDP back in 2012.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Which was very scary for me at the time. But no, he really encouraged me to do that. And it was great. I learned a lot, and I learned a lot about myself. And OMP as well.
Yeah.
So he was the one that encouraged me, and several other managers throughout our company have been through either LDP or OMPs as well. So
Totally.
I had plenty of people to go to and say, what was it like?
Yes. So I want to touch on that a bit. So you say openly you were scared to do it, you know.
Yeah.
What were the hesitations around jumping on the leadership development program?
So I think I actually, to be honest, had a little bit more hesitation, I think, on OMP, to be honest.
Yeah.
But LDP was a little bit of just confidence, I guess.
Yeah.
And I've spoken to other people that have felt this way around the whole, I don't want to kind of show myself up kind of thing. You know, you might be good at what you do, but you still have this kind of feeling of, I'm not going to make it, I'm not going to be good enough, I'm not, you know, and that could be a Kiwi thing as well, maybe, you know?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Bit of the imposter syndrome coming through.
Absolutely, yeah, definitely.
Did you feel that on OMP?
Yeah, and a number of the guys on my OMP said they felt the same, you know, you know from the outset, right, who is going to be in your program.
Yeah.
You've looked at the little profiles that you get.
Totally. Give them a LinkedIn stalk.
Oh my God, there's all these amazing people and amazing businesses. How am I gonna, you know, come up to that? But many of them felt the same, and that was cool once we sort of got past that initial getting to know each other, how we all discovered that, and that was reassuring, and it didn't make you quite feel so bad.
Totally. And the amount of people that have said that on a podcast, like, I didn't think I was worthy of being in the room.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, actually everyone in that room was thinking that, or most people. Blows my mind, to be honest, how much business owners and leaders struggle with imposter syndrome on the daily, and how it's a daily practice sometimes to push past it, feel the fear, do it anyway.
Yeah, absolutely.
And back yourself, like you said, in terms of your advice. Yeah, for sure.
I also wonder too whether that's a bit of a Kiwi thing, because it's that kind of tall poppy thing as well, isn't it? We don't like to be seen to be standing above the crowd.
Yeah.
To be seen to be a bit of a dick.
Yeah,
you know,
achieving,
kind of
but Kiwis see it in a different way.
Yeah, but we should be proud of what we do and that we're good at it. You know, there's no reason why we shouldn't.
Yeah, so true. Absolutely agree. What was it like doing both? So you did LDP, Leadership Development Program, and then a few years later, OMP. I think you would be one of few that have actually done both. So just tell us a little bit about what that was like.
It was, in some ways, I guess it prepared me a little bit, because there are similarities between the two. And I might have got picked on a little bit more.
Yeah, true. You're like, you know what you're doing.
But it's all good, it's all fun. Probably prepared me slightly more. And there were a couple of things that were on repeat, but it was quite nice to refresh, because it was 6 years?
Yeah.
Or 5.5 or whatever. So it was quite nice to be able to do that. So
no, that's really cool. I love that. Were there any learnings from either the LDP or OMP that really that you implemented that really made a difference?
Probably OMP. One of them would have been around self, and myself in the business, and looking after self.
Yeah, great.
And making sure that you are at your best so you can be the best for the business, you know, because it's so easy to get pulled into the business and not look after yourself and go on your hikes and have your family time and all the rest of it. You know, it's making sure that you have your routines and you put those things in place so that you are, you know, you can be the best that you can be. Totally. A lot of things around that, like we did with Sven. Sorry, I was just trying to think of his name.
That's all right.
Just left me for a moment. All that sort of thing was very, very valuable.
Yeah. The resilience.
Which I've had to pull on in the last couple of years quite a lot. And it was, certainly a very worthwhile part of the program. And
that's cool.
Networking, the people on the program, learnt so much from them. Yeah. Brilliant. And the support that's ongoing since then for each other. So there's quite a number of us that have kept in touch.
Great.
And we kept in touch through COVID lockdown as well. So and we would just have a bit of a Teams or a Zoom get together with a wine in hand and just share our experiences and reassure each other, and it was great.
Awesome. I love that. I think community is an interesting one because post your experience, the Icehouse, and my role as community manager, so live and breathe it in terms of how we can engage people after their program experience. But there comes a point where if someone wants to be engaged in the community, they will be, and if they don't, they won't. They've got to make that personal decision to turn up to the event or be on the podcast and you are an amazing part of the community. Like I was even reminiscing my couple of times I've been in Christchurch before for work, and you've been at those events, you came to conference last year, you're now on the podcast, you're actively making that decision to be part of the community. We love having you part of it. Thanks. But how important is it for you to stay in community post-program or just in general?
Yeah, it is really important. It is, people call it networking, but it's about that support of each other and just feeding off each other and learning from each other and all that sort of things. And it becomes part of your kind of wider family almost, and that's really important. And absolutely through Icehouse. Some of it might be even just in the business community in general within your region. So, trying to get along to things like, Chamber of Commerce events or things like that, and just staying active and it's amazing who you meet. Yeah. So true. Yeah, that can be the next person on your board or the next mentor or next best friend that you have a wine with. Absolutely. You just never know. And if you're not out there, you're not going to know.
I love that. What benefits do you see in putting your staff on Icehouse programs?
I have recently put one of my staff members on an LDP.
Yeah.
And I won't name him because he'll tell me off. But it really was a big benefit to him. He was also one of those people that was like, I don't know about this. But what it did for his confidence in himself as a manager, and even with things like the financials, like being more confident with the numbers, that sort of thing, and getting up in front of a group of people and, sharing your your plan of even though he was the sort of person that's is in sales and comes across as naturally confident, etc. That kind of freaked him out of it, I think. So for him to pull that off was did great. That's things for his confidence. So I think you've mentioned it a few times throughout this recording as well. That confidence piece is so important. Like backing ourselves as leaders and then having the external confidence from our day-to-day job or our day-to-day manager going, yep, you're doing a good job. Actually stepping out of our comfort zone and learning new things and gaining new confidence through that is a lot of what the program really is about. It is, and then we grow.
Yeah, totally. What excites you most about 2023? We've talked a little bit about it, but also where the business is heading and where you're heading as a leader. What a question. Let's finish on that one.
So we've talked about it a little bit already, and I think the thing that excites me most is that whatever we do, I'm doing it with some awesome people.
Cool.
And no matter what happens, even if we have some strong headwinds or whatever, we have a great team, and we are still going to grow and thrive. Yeah, regardless.
Absolutely.
I'm confident of that.
Yeah. Totally. That's so cool. Yeah. And you as a leader?
Again, it's like that reset thing I did. So it's trying to take those next steps in my leadership and saying, okay, how can I now grow a bit more and improve a bit more? And revisiting perhaps some of those things that I did in the OMP and going, okay, let's have another look and a little bit of a reflect, but now how am I going to take those next steps and improve myself a bit further?
Very, very cool. Yeah. Well, you're a very inspiring leader, and like I said, we love having you part of the community. So thank you for being on the podcast and sharing your story.
Thank you for having me.